Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard. Well, good Monday morning, and we're back on the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and our very special guest, Miss Kristi July. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Wow. Last week's show, I'm telling you, it was really good. It was really, really, really good. And it was the perfect segue into what we're going to talk about today, which is why entrepreneurship is important.
Yeah. I had fun last week, by the way.
Oh, that's my main thing. If I can get you to have fun, learn something all at the same time, I know I learned a lot from you. I mean, wow, you're like one of the smartest people that I know anyway. So I just enjoyed just being able to conversate with you and just get some information out to our listeners. So why is entrepreneurship important? One of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, back in the day, I remember growing up and my grandmother, who was a janitor at a local hospital, she would get up about 2 hours early every morning and roast peanuts. And she would, have us to come and help her. If we were out from school, she'd have us to come, and we had to put a certain amount in the bag. Couldn't put too many. Couldn't, we had to get enough in there. And so she would sell these peanuts, 10 cent, 15 cent bags. And I think she even went up to 20 cents sometimes. And so that was her way of, making sure that she was able to have extra finances, to help with the family, help with bills. She had 7 kids. She had us grandkids to be bothered with, they came over, always looking to eat. And so that was her way to be able to support her family. And I see that there is an insurgence of entrepreneurship now. There are so many people that are starting businesses, even though they may still work a full-time job like you yourself. Yeah. Kristi is the owner of Rely Delivery Service in Mobile, Alabama. And so, and we're going to also make some segue so you could talk about your business today, because our viewers need to listen and hear what you have to offer. Okay. But there's a insurgence, and I was at a conference I was telling you about off air, and we one of the things that the main speaker talked about was there were 4 waves of wealth that has taken place in our country. The last wave, he said, will be entrepreneurs. And he said there will be more multimillionaires coming out of this wave than ever before. And so, as our city, has been trying to progress forward, I was speaking with someone just recently, and they said that since, how can I say it? I think he said since this year, there have been over 100 new businesses that have opened in our city.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is awesome. And so let's talk about, why is entrepreneurship important? Why is it important to you, Kristi?
Well, first, I feel like it's the fabric of our economy. We would not be as successful as the United States, not just Mobile, if it weren't for entrepreneurship, and especially small businesses. I think a lot of enterprises get a lot of credit, which they should, but small businesses are the back of our financial status and bring a lot to the table within our communities. And it's important to me because it gives you an outlet. There are a lot of people that have full-time jobs, such as myself, but having a side hustle, as some people say, or having that business that you own allows you to use your passion that you may not get to use in your full-time job and make money from it at the same time. It's about building that independence. I have never been one to put all of my eggs in one basket. It may look like I am, but I'm not, because anything can happen at any given time. And it's very important for you to have, as I have read before, 7 streams of income coming in. And so it's good that those streams are diverse, because there can be waves and times where things are really good in one and not so great in the other. And that way you can always kind of level out and be at your same financial status. So growing to that, I think entrepreneurship allows you to get to those 7 different revenue streams.
Okay. So talk to us, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, it's always been something in me, in my blood, that I've liked to do. And you mentioned your grandmother, and my husband's grandmother was the candy lady, and my grandmother was the hairdresser. And for the neighborhood, when I was in high school, people used to purchase birthday cakes from me for their classmates or their friends that wanted to celebrate their birthdays.
Okay.
And for me, that was something that was very small and simple. Now, in all honesty, I am not a baker. I don't think that was the best idea for me. Not all of the cakes were even cooked all the way.
Oh,
but
okay.
They still bought it. So apparently they like something about it. Nor am I artistic, so they didn't look very good either. But that was that thrive and that thirst to do something that made me feel excited and motivated and want to continue regardless of what else I had going on. That energy I love, and I thrived off of that. And I do love having a full-time job. Don't get me wrong. The job that I have brings me a lot of joy. And I feel like I am contributing to the growth of the city through that position. But at the same time, there's always that side of me that wants to do more, that wants to release my logistical mindset and my strategy and being able to engage with different people within the city and the region. And I think having a side business allows me to fulfill that need. Because unfortunately, my current business, I am stuck in one place. But having a side business that can excite me and keeps me up till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, that's what I love, that passion. And so for me, entrepreneurship is about expressing myself and using all of my talents that I have to the fullest potential and being able to make a little money at the same time.
Yeah, I was thinking about you and this subject matter. The other day I was riding, getting lunch. And I thought about what inspired me to get into entrepreneurship. And, that's when I thought about my grandmother. And then I thought about my first gig. I was 12 years old, and my aunt needed a babysitter because she had started a new job. She was recently divorced, so she didn't have her husband, who was watching the kids while she was trying to work. Matter of fact, she really didn't have to work when she was married, so she was getting back into the workforce. So I said, okay, well, I'll babysit for you. And she was like, all I can afford to pay you is $50 a week. Now, I had her kids from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Oh, wow.
Now, being a 12-year-old, I was like, $50? I really need more. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So then the door opened where a coworker of my mom, who worked day shift, my mom is a nurse, and she worked day shift. She needed somebody to watch her 2 kids. So I said, okay, I think I could do this. So she said, how much? And I think I charged her double. Okay. $50 a kid. So she would bring them over in the mornings. She worked an 8-hour shift. I would feed them, let them watch TV, give them activities. I was 12. And these kids were 6, 7, 8. I think the oldest one was 8. I'm 12.
Yes.
So I'm babysitting and I'm, creating these activities. I'm fixing lunch, and she would feed them before they came. And I think my aunt maybe fed her kids, and I just made sure they had lunch and, maybe take them outside or let them play video games and things of that sort. So I was making $150 a week. And I said, okay, I'm making all this money. I decided to save my money because my mom, being a single mom, 4 kids, trying to handle everything on her own, I wanted Jordan. She bought me Jordache.
That's all right. That's all right.
And I got teased about those Jordache. So I said, when I make my money, I save my money for the whole summer. I said, I'm going to buy me some Nikes, and I'm going to buy me a JanSport book bag. That was my goal, because I was going to high school.
Yes.
And I wasn't going with those Jordache shoes. So, saved my money. And then my mom got in a pinch.
Okay.
And she needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Lord Jesus, all right, Mom, you can have this money. Well, my grandmother took me to the store. She had a dealer's card.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with her, not to get me anything, to just shop with her.
Okay.
She said, you like them shoes you're looking at over there? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, go over there and pick out whatever shoes you want. I was like, really? And she said, yeah. So I picked out these $50 black top Reeboks, and she bought them. And I think she knew that I had given all my money to help Mom with bills. Yeah. And so Mom came back and got me the book bag that I wanted. So, you know, that was my first business. Yeah. My second business, I was like 19, and I said, hey, I'm going to start a clothing line. And I sat with this guy and put this design together for a T-shirt that I sold, I think, 25 of the shirts. Wow. Then the guy, you know, decided that he wanted to start liking me. And I shut the business down. Not knowing that I should have just said, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else and take my ideas. But I let that, you know, and then I settled for a 9-to-5 and going to college and all of that good stuff. But that entrepreneurship was in me at an early age.
Oh yeah, and it constantly will eat at you.
Yes,
until you satisfy that. And I think that's something that people don't realize. Yes, you may transition to that 9-to-5 for whatever reason, whether you need it financially or you need the insurance, whatever. But don't think that that feeling is going to go away. It's going to wake you up one night.
Yes.
And you won't be able to get rid of it until you start moving in that direction.
And especially if you're creative.
Yes.
I think your creative outlet is logistics. Yeah. Mine's is anything with a computer or a camera. That's mine. And I can remember my first creative outlet was my TV show that I had that came on Mediacom and Comcast Cable called Gospel Hits 1. Awesome. I would be up to 2 o'clock in the morning writing shows, or I would get up extra early in the morning writing scripts or editing, or, you know, sending out emails for more videos to come in, because it was a video platform show that transitioned into artist interviews as well as videos. Gotcha. I can't tell you, I was going to school, back to school for my master's degree. I was working 9-to-5. I was editing TV shows for local churches, and still Gospel Hits 1 was my thing. I don't care if I didn't get into bed till 4 o'clock in the morning and I had to get up at 6 to get the kids ready for school. It kept me up. It was like a fire, you know, even when coming up with this concept for this podcast. And I told my husband, I said, hey, I want to do a podcast. And he was like, really? What you going to call it? And I stayed up night after night researching how to do it, what to do, what I needed, and all of this good stuff and platforms. And the name came to me. And I mean, he will be asleep. It will be 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm on my phone. I have got to get this out of me. I got to get in. I could be tired, work 6 days a week, but I'm going to come in on Sundays and do what I have to do to prepare for this podcast. So I understand that fire and that passion to want to create and to contribute. And I think this show is doing that. I think it's been a blessing to a lot of people. But back to the subject matter, why is entrepreneurship important? Do you see entrepreneurship being that means of generational wealth for your family?
I do. I think that with my family, we're better than our parents, but allowing us to own, and our family owns 2 businesses, allowing us to own those 2 businesses is giving us more financial security. Now, one thing I do want to be very clear on, when you get into entrepreneurship, you need to understand that there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows.
Yes.
But you have to be willing to ride that roller coaster. And if it's something that you're passionate enough about, then understand that when you get to those low moments, that's when you got to put in the most work to help get you out of that and to get that high coming back. And for our family, I think that is a huge impact, not only on us, but a learning experience for our children, to understand that sometimes upsets happen. And in order to grow financial wealth and generational wealth, you're not looking for an immediate $1 million. Love it.
Well, you know, yeah. I'm
Would. I mean, if you want to make it 3, I'm good. But understanding that this is a marathon and we are in it to win it. So finding